Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the C.E.F.S virtual job fair event. I would like to introduce you to Barbara. Barbara will tell you about her company, job openings, and how to apply for those openings. Barbara?
Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending. My name is Barbara Waymeyer with C.E.F.S Economic Opportunity Corporation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We've been in business for 56 years, providing services, a wide variety of services. We go from Head Start programs to Meals on Wheels programs. We have public transportation, workforce opportunity program, weatherization, LIHEAP, and homeless branch of our agency. And we cover 7 counties: Clay, Effingham, Fayette, and Shelby, Moultrie, Montgomery, and Christian. So that's over 4,000 square miles of area that we cover. We are looking for some people who like to serve others. One of our main positions we're looking to fill first would be our operations manager for our transportation program. This person would be responsible for the day-to-day operations of our 7-county transportation program. It's called Central Illinois Public Transit. This person would have to have great attention to detail, would be a very supportive supervisory position to develop our staff, to help with state and federal reports, make sure our data is accurate, make sure we're doing the best client service that we can do over our rural transportation services. Those details of that job are posted on our website. Our website is CEFSEOC.org, and there's a tab for employment. So that's the position we're struggling right at this point to fill, but we always have other positions that are almost always available. We're looking for part-time transportation drivers. We're looking for full-time transportation drivers. Our Head Start program, if you like working with children, we are always in need of substitute teacher assistants, substitute bus drivers, a position called a family advocate, where they help the family, not just the student, be successful. Another difficult position we have to fill, it takes a special person, but to work with the homeless. It's a homeless intensive case manager. They're basically, I hate to use the word cheerleader, but they're help these individuals in whatever way possible that they need help in order to be successful. Maybe that is with budgeting skills. Maybe that is in search for employment. Maybe that is family relationship development. So that position is also advertised on our website under our employment link. So that's about 10 openings we have right now that we're looking to fill. So if you're interested, please go to our website, and there's a link for employment. There's also a link for an online application, and that application would come to me and I would filter it to the right department. We're ready to hire. Everyone that we do hire goes through a background check. We do a criminal history and federal district court, and we only go back 7 years. Just wanted to let people aware of that. And there is a pre-employment physical and a drug screen that all of the employees go through. That's at our expense.
Fantastic. Thank you for that presentation, Barbara. And I just do want to go ahead and reiterate to the folks that are on the call or who will be tuning in at a later date. If you do have any questions for Barb regarding employment with C.E.F.S, please feel free to enter those into the chat. We'll get those answered for you during the Q&A session that will be taking place right now as we speak. So as we're waiting for participant questions to come in, Barb, I do have some pre-prepared questions that I do have on my end that I'd like to ask you. Do you have a few minutes to answer those?
Oh, certainly. Thank you.
Absolutely. So the first question that I have for you, Barb, is how long does your hiring process typically take from the point of submitting an application to actually being extended that official offer for hire?
Well, we review applications daily. If the individual who would make the hiring decision would probably meet with their team. So that would be maybe 3 days from the day we received the application. Um, then I would reach out to the individual to get them signed up for their pre-employment physical and drug screen and a background check. We could turn around in 7 to 10 days. Generally, it would take closer to 10 days to 2 weeks.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Barb. And Barb, the next question that I have for you is, are there any sort of minimum educational requirements that folks would need to possess in order to hold any of the positions that you covered here today?
Our homeless case manager would need to have at least an associate's degree. Our operations manager for CIPT, we prefer a degree, associate's or bachelor's, but we would consider substituting experience in operations management and transportation in lieu of a degree. The specific educational requirements are listed on our website with each individual job title. So like our Head Start teacher, they would have to have an early childhood degree. Teacher assistant would not have to. So since we have so many varieties of opening, I think the best way for people to find that out would be to go to our website and read each description.
Understood. Thank you for clarifying that, Barbara. Next question that I have for you is one that's at the forefront of a lot of folks' minds right now, and that is, how is the organization handling COVID safety precautions? And then just kind of building off of that question, are there any opportunities from remote work, remote interviewing, remote training, things of that nature?
Yeah, COVID has really changed the way we do things. Our transportation program, we take all the precautions, but the drivers would be in public contact. They wear masks. We asked, or we invite the riders to wear a mask, and we follow the safety 6 feet apart whenever we can. We don't ever have a full bus. Hand sanitizer at every station. Now, our homeless intensive case manager, a lot of that would be in an office, but they would do remote to the client. There would be mostly telephone and texting interactions. So that one would be, you're not working from home, but you're not being in direct client contact generally. Now, Head Start has very, very comprehensive COVID precautions in their classroom. They are guided by C.E.F.S and the Office of Head Start. So they are having contact with the children, but everybody's wearing masks, and there is dividers at lunchtime. And we're doing all that we can to make everyone safe and following all the guidelines from the CDC and our funders.
Understood. Thank you for that, Barbara. And kind of elaborating off of that again, do you have any sort of virtual measures, I guess, that are in place either for the interviewing, hiring process, training process, or ultimately working itself? I know that's a question that I get frequently.
Yeah, we can do like Zoom interviews or telephone interviews for candidates. We do that. And then we have done some remote orientation, but we do have a large boardroom that most orientation or onboarding, that we would call it, would be done 10 feet apart. So the original answer to your question is yes, we can do remote interviews.
Understood. Thank you so much for that, Barbara. And kind of building off of that, I know you had just mentioned training briefly. Can folks expect to be paid for the time in which they're being trained?
Oh, absolutely. We can't pay them for their time to go get their pre-employment physicals and drug screen, But anytime after that, after we review that data and actually offer them a job, their orientation is paid, travel is paid if they're coming from a remote location outside of Effingham. So yes, we will definitely pay them for their time and travel.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Barb. And then, Barb, another thing that I'd like you to kind of touch on briefly for the folks who will be tuning in is what are some of the standard benefits that your organization offers? And then, kind of building off of that, are there any particular fringe benefits maybe that folks should be made aware of?
Yes, we do have a wonderful package of benefits. We offer the employees on day one a $30,000 life insurance policy that we pay for. We have prorated sick time. So after 6 months, you'll have a week's vacation. Then thereafter that, you have another 32 hours of vacation. And it just increases with longevity. Sick time you earn, and this is for a full-time 40-hour-a-week person when I give you these numbers, but you earn a sick time, half a day of sick time every 2 weeks. We get paid every 2 weeks. So we get 26 pay periods a year. We have 12 holidays, 12 paid holidays. Oftentimes we are given a couple more days as a Christmas gift from our board. So very generous holiday package. We pay into a retirement plan for our employees, and they can purchase into the retirement plan on their first day of employment if they'd like to. And we are a great team to work for. That's a benefit that it's hard to quantify.
Absolutely.
That covers it.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Barb. Next question that I have for you kind of is related to the shift structure that you guys operate. Can you elaborate more on what those shifts might be? Do you guys operate a night shift, day shift? And if so, what are the respective hours for each of those?
Most of our programs operate 8 to 4 or 8:30 to 4:30. Our transportation drivers, they may start as early as 5, getting the bus ready to go pick up people for a morning job run. And some of those are split shifts. Some are just part-time, morning or afternoon. But the part-time positions we're looking to fill, they would be maybe called the night before to fill in for a bus driver that's unable to attend work. So generally speaking, 8:30 to 4:30, 8 to 4, except their bus drivers, they may start early. The latest they would work is probably 6 to 6:30 in the evening, Monday through Friday. We have an occasional run on Saturdays, but not during COVID.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Barbara. And another question that I have for you is one, again, that is pretty prevalent in a lot of job seekers' minds. And that is, how can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming they are qualified for the position in which they are applying? Are there any sort of tips, pointers, information that you suggest folks highlight either in their resume or during their interview that might make them stand out from the pack, if you will?
Well, it's always nice to have a cover letter explaining your desire to work for a nonprofit and for the position you're looking for. Also, completing the application thoroughly shows that you're good with detail and attention to detail. And most of our positions, we need attention to detail. So filling out the application thoroughly and completely will get you noticed right off the bat. And a good cover letter. If you have a resume, that always helps, but it's not required that you provide a resume for our openings. Hope that helps.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Barb. And I do want to take a brief pause here and just reiterate, if you do have any questions for Barb regarding employment with C.E.F.S, please feel free to enter those questions into the chat, and we'll get those answered for you as soon as possible. Barb, pivoting back to the questions that I kind of have for you, can you describe kind of what a typical day might look like for some of the positions that you covered here today?
We certainly, I'm going to probably devote most of the time on the operations manager. That person would report to not our central office. We have another office where we have 3 or 4 full-time dispatchers, and it's probably the home to 10 or 12 drivers. So they would report to work, um, make sure if there's any troubles with routes that aren't, maybe a route isn't being covered because someone was sick, or maybe the client wasn't able to, be picked up for whatever reason. So they're going to be on their feet running, making changes to the schedule with the dispatchers. Um, they'll be monitoring mileage, they'll be monitoring routes to see if there's more efficiencies that can be brought into play. We have 40 plus drivers, so they'll be working with the drivers to make sure all their training is up to date, that their documents are in order, that the buses are in. If they need maintenance, they'll make arrangements to get them to the maintenance shop. So that's kind of like the assistant director to our transportation program. Key people in reporting, key people in helping with writing grants. The day in the life of a Head Start employee is one of pure joy, working with 3 to 5-year-olds. You got to love being a Head Start employee. And then our homeless intensive case manager, a day in the life for them probably would be, checking in with the families first thing in the morning, or maybe a little bit later, first thing in the morning, seeing what services they might need, tying them to a resource that they might need. Maybe it's food pantry, or, so sorry, my phone is ringing. And they'll be reaching out to other resources in the area and seeing, what job openings are available, what family supports might be available. If they need to go to the store to obtain basic needs, they would make those arrangements for them and just encourage them, help them along the way, check on them on daily and see how they're doing.
Understood. Thank you for that, Barb. And then another question that I have for you is, I know you mentioned kind of at the beginning of your presentation, of course, that C.E.F.S is a non-for-profit organization. Another thing that's kind of at the forefront of a lot of folks' minds is, student loan repayment, student loan debt. Would your organization, would folks that would be working for it, would they be eligible for some of those, repayment programs, if you will, for student loans?
I think we qualify. I don't want to speak too much about that. I know I filled out some paperwork for people to show that they're working for a nonprofit. I don't know how that all works, so not the right person for that question. Sorry.
Absolutely. And then kind of as a final question for you, Barb, it's one that I like to ask on all my events, and that is, what are the opportunities for advancement within your organization? And are there any particular success stories that you'd like to highlight for the folks who are on the call?
Oh, we definitely have opportunities for moving up in the organization. We have 7 different divisions. So you may start out in one division and see an internal job opening for another position. So you could move up, even in locations. So maybe you're traveling to Effingham, an opening is in Shelbyville, and you're closer to Shelbyville, you may qualify for that position. We have several people that are celebrating 40 years plus with the organization. They love working here. They've been promoted along the way. A couple of our directors started out as part-time people in different departments and have been promoted to the director of that program. So lots of success stories, lots of opportunities. We're having a change in our chief operations officer. So someone internally is being promoted to that position, somebody internally is being promoted to the director position, somebody internally is being promoted to the assistant director position. So lots of opportunities for promotions.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Barb. And then just kind of as An additional note for the folks that'll be tuning in, if they do have any questions regarding employment with C.E.F.S or any sort of application related questions that they need assistance with or answers on, what would be the best way to get those questions answered? Would it be by emailing you directly? Do you have a like a general info at email that you would direct them to, or what would be the best way to get those questions answered?
Well, they can always give me a call, 217-342-2193, extension 126. But there's also an agency email that comes to my desk. It's CEFS at CEFSEOC.org. I think that's on our website. Those emails all come to me and I will direct them to the right department that's looking to hire.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Barb. And Barb, I do want to give you one final opportunity to make any sort of summary statements or concluding remarks that you'd like to make before we wrap up the session here today.
Certainly, I just want to remind people that our job positions do change. So the best way to find out what is available is to go to our website, click on the tab that says employment, see what's available, see what you're qualified for. You can fill out one application for multiple openings. We are a great place to work. You have to want to help people, and you also want to be able to support your coworkers and like I'm rambling here. It's a great place to work. I've been with the agency for 12 years and I love it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Barb. And with that, we'll go ahead and officially begin our wrap up and conclusion of today's session. Again, thank you to Barb and C.E.F.S for obviously joining the session today and presenting all of that wonderful information and all of the job opportunities that you have available for job seekers. Again, we also want to extend a thanks to the job seekers as well, who either attended today or will be tuning in at a later date. Another thing that I'd like to make a brief mention of is that this session has been recorded and it will be made available on the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel later this afternoon under the virtual job fair playlist. Building off of that, we will take that URL and we will link it to the C.E.F.S employer booth later today as well. So again, the point being here, if you need to come back and reference any of the information that was covered here today by Barbara, you can absolutely do so. And again, as Barbara stated, she has provided her contact information for you in the event that you need to follow up on any of the questions that you have related to employment with the organization or any application related questions that you have as well. Again, Barbara, thank you for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.